How you doing, everyone? This is G from G's Enterprise. Um, I wanted to make a small, simple guide. I hope it's simple. I'm going to try my best to do that. Um, to buying taps and dies. So, what taps and dies are, they're tools in order for you to make threads in holes and on round metal. So, let's start off with taps, right? So when you go to the store, taps will look like this. You'll see them having teeth all along the ridge here. See? And these are called flutes, the areas right here. And then over here in the back, it's square. This is where it's held. And then on the side here, this one's kind of faded. It'll give you the diameter. If I can focus it, it'll give you the diameter and the TPI. So diameter is, for those of you who don't know, is how big, right? So a 1/4 inch diameter is like small, and then the large, a bigger diameter means it's just bigger. And we're talking about like hole size, right? Because taps are to make threads in holes. That's what these are for. So actually, to make some, I wrote it down because you can't really see it on the tap, but this is how it looks like on a tap. That'll write it in a fraction, which is the diameter, dash, and then the TPI, which is it stands for threads per inch. So quite literally, what that means is, if you got this tap here, right, that size, 1/4 inch by 20, that means, say 1 inch from starting from here to here, there is 20 threads in here. That's what that means. So, second step of using these guys, right, you need a certain tool to be able to use them. There's these. And then there's also these. So the way this one's used, you unscrew this like that. You put this in here. Actually, this one's a bit too small for this one. Anyways, it goes in here like that, and then you tighten it, right? And then it sits in there like this. And then you can turn it, turn it in the hole, cut the threads in the hole. And then the way this guy works is that you turn this, see how that moves back and it moves forward, right? So let me just show you an example. You can grab this tap, goes in here like that, and then you go ahead and turn it to tighten it, and then you go, see, it holds them in there. And then you just turn it in the hole, and that's how you can, use this type of wrench. So let's start out with like, say for example, you want to make threads in a hole for a 1/4 inch diameter. This one right here, right? 1/4 inch diameter, 20 TPI. Right, so you go to the store and you look for, a 1/4 inch by 20 tap, which it'll say on here, right? So now you got the tap, right? In addition, what you need is a specific drill to be able to use this tap, right? And I know it from memory. It's a 3/16 drill. And for those of you who know when I say 3/16, I mean the fraction 3/16, like this. 3/16, right? So that's going to be the case with any tap that you buy. Doesn't matter if it's the American unit system, the metric unit system. There's going to be a drill for every specific tap size that you use. So On to the third thing you need to know when using a tap, right? So, in order for you not to break it, say it's in here, right? I'm using it. So, you have your drill for your tap, right? So you go ahead and get your drill. You go ahead and drill the hole in whatever metal it is that you're using. Whatever, aluminum, steel, doesn't matter. And then you grab your tap. You start it in the hole, right? And then what you do is that you start turning and turning and turning until you feel it get kind of hard, right? You're like, oh, that's getting really stiff. You can't really go. When that happens, you turn it back counterclockwise, and then what'll happen is that you'll hear this little like something that's breaking. It's not the tap. What it is, it's the chips that are inside. So once you hear that, you're okay to go clockwise again. And what you want to do is that you want to keep going, not full throttle, just keep going until you feel it resist again, like it's just getting stuck. When that happens, go back counterclockwise, and then it'll go ahead and you hear that little, like something's breaking, you're breaking the chips, and then you keep going again clockwise afterwards. So you keep doing that until you get all the way through the hole that you're trying to make threads on. All right. So the fourth thing when using taps, and this is also important, that way you don't break them or jam them, right? So when you're starting out a tap, right, here's your hole, and then here's you're starting it out. Make sure that this is straight. It's straight when you're looking at it this way, and it's straight when you're looking at it over here, right? Because if you don't do that, say if it goes at an angle, there's a chance that it'll either jam or you'll just break this. And these are not cheap. If you're buying, excuse me, I think a 1/4 inch by 20, it's been a couple years now, but it's probably like $3 or $4 maybe, depending on where you buy, brand, and all that. They're not cheap, and if you use them right, they will last a long time. But I'm not going to get into the material right now or anything. I'm just using on the basic identification and the steps and the tools that you need in order to use a tap. Right. So anyways, to come to a conclusion, right? So you need the diameter, 1/4 inch, and then you need the TPI, threads per inch, right? So again, diameter dash TPI. And then the second step, drill. In this case, for this specific size, you need a 3/16 drill, right? The third thing, you need the wrench to use the tap, right? Either this one, or this one, right? In a close-up, that's what it looks like. It's like a V, and then a little miniature V in there. All right. And then the fourth thing, remember, make sure when it goes in, it's straight from here and from here. And then when you go ahead and turn it, don't go full throttle with taps. Make sure you keep going and going clockwise. And when you feel resistance, back it off until you hear that little snap, that little clicking sound, and then clockwise again. And use lubrication. All right. That way you can get a long life of your tap. All right. I think that's enough. Hopefully that was clear. Yeah. So let's let's move on to dies now. Right, so a die looks like this. There's two versions out there that I've only ever used out of all my years. This is round, and it has like the little dibs here, right? And then it has a split in the middle. I don't understand why this camera keeps not focusing. I'm sorry about that. And then you got this one. This one is like a hexagon shape, 6 sides, for those of you who don't know. Right? So let's start with the same size, right? 1/4 inch diameter by 20. Now, a die, is used to make threads on round metal, like this. Like that. When you go and buy them in stores, right, the proper term for it is like solid round stock. That's how you say it. And that's how I've always said it. Or you can just say round metal, or just simply say, hey, where's the steel at, or metal in general. So the way this works, right? So say you have your, if you have a die that says 1/4 inch by 20, it's 1/4 inch stands for the diameter, and then 20, like we did with the tap, is TPI. That's the threads per inch, right? That's how many threads. I mean, anyways, that's the number. That's the how do I say it? Yeah, that's the amount of threads you're gonna get per inch. I'm trying to keep it simple. So anyways, what you need is that you need to get a solid round stock that the diameter, right, which is the size, like how big it is, it's a 1/4 inch diameter. And that's all you need. That's all you need. You don't need like any other special stuff. It's when you're using a die, it takes out one step. Remember with the tap, you needed to drill. In this case, you don't need that. So on to the second thing, right? You need, what tools do you need? So in this case, like this one with a hexagon, you can use an adjustable wrench, right? And then you just go ahead and grab it on here. And then when you have a piece of round metal, right, you go on there and then you turn it, right? So you're turning and turning, and that's all there is to it for that, right? When you're using these, what tool you need, right? But when it comes to these, you need this specific type of tool. And I already have something in here for an example. See that? It has 3 screws. And what that is for, the 2 screws on the top here, they will sit on these little divots or whatever you want to call them, or craters. And then the middle one will sit in here. So you can only use these ones one at a time, right? So like the purpose of the slit, the little cut, is so these can tighten. They tighten and they squeeze, right? So the way to do that is you use this one and this one. You tighten these down, both ends, and it'll squeeze it. It'll close it, I mean. But if you want this to open up, right, back these off all the way, and then you use this one and make sure it's lined up with the split here. And then that'll make it, it'll open it up. What that does is that when you open it up, it makes it easier to start it, right? So where am I now? Am I in the second or third? I'll just say third. I can't keep track. So the third thing, how to use these properly, right? So say you have here's a piece of metal, right? That's the round, right? So when you start these, you want to make sure you start them in the right side of the die, the correct side of the die, right? And so what I mean by that is that, see this side here? This is going to be kind of hard to point out to, but because this camera doesn't want to focus. These little ribs here, like these right here, there's, this side, this side, this side, this side. Look at the top. You'll see like a blank spot, and there's no teeth, right? They look kind of like this, right? On all these little sides. That's where you want to start it. So say this is your round piece of steel. You want to start it like this. On the other side, it won't have that, That's how you can tell, well, which side is the right side, right? You can kind of, I'm hoping maybe I can, no. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I can't really, yeah. Anyways, you got the correct side, right? So what you do is you start it, and when you start it, you go in clockwise, and then when you go in clockwise and you have a few, like it's grabbing onto the steel, right? Make sure that this thing isn't like this. It's not like that, or like I'm exaggerating, right? But it's not like leaning anywhere. Make sure this is going on there, but flat, straight on, looking at this direction and then looking at this direction. Kind of the same thing like the tap, right? You want to make sure that this is going in straight, not like this or like that. Same thing with this, right? So once you got that going, then what you do is you keep going and going and going and going, right? Until it gets kind of stiff. When it gets pretty stiff and you're feeling some resistance, go back, right, and you'll hear the same thing like with the taps. You'll hear it kind of go, and again, the term I use is just breaking the chips. That's what it's doing. Once you do that, you keep going, not full throttle. You just keep going and going slowly until you kind of feel some more resistance. And then, and then you go back again, counterclockwise. So counterclockwise, clockwise, and you just keep going until it goes all the way down to wherever it is that you want the threads to be at. And use lubrication. So, yeah, I think I explained everything. Yeah. So, just to summarize everything, right? You want to make threads on a 1/4 inch diameter with 20 TPI, right? So that means you get the diameter of this needs to be 1/4 inch, and then that's it. That's all you need. And then the wrench you use is either going to be one of these, and that depends again, right? Which die you have, the round or is it a hexagon shape like this. On this one, you need this tool. And on this one, you can just use a wrench, an adjustable wrench or a regular combination wrench that fits over this, right? And again, make sure that you're going in straight from this direction and this direction, right? And that's it. I think I covered everything, and I try to keep it simple. Hopefully I did. And I hope this helps out some of you guys. Unfortunately, it's not really a quick guide. It does take a little bit of knowledge. This is G from G's Enterprise, and hopefully I helped some of you guys out. So you have a good one. All right. Bye.